I usually go to Yahoo or MSNBC, sometimes Fox News, sometimes all three of them, and try to get an idea of what's going on in the world. I don't watch the news anymore, but it's just a quick way of seeing if there's anything happening I should know about. Usually I find most of it amusing, to be honest with you. But anyway, I just thought I'd scroll Twitter today because sometimes some funny stuff happens on Twitter. There's Bill Burr on abortion. Let's see.
Because I don't like people telling me what to do. And I always just like, it's your body. Who the fuck am I to tell you what to do with your body? So that always makes sense. Right? However, I still think you're killing a baby. See? That's where it gets weird. Like, I sit on the fence and the whole thing makes sense to me. Whatever anybody's saying, like, don't tell you what to do. It's my body, my choice. That's right, man. She's right.
Yeah, he's just playing both ends like most celebrities. I don't blame them. That's what they do. When you sell out, you sell out. That way you don't offend half your audience. But, it's kind of gutless. I remember when comedians used to kind of be, edgy. They would say what the heck was on their mind. If you didn't like it, screw it. But now they can be canceled for saying just some minor thing, which means basically, I used to think Bill Burr was pretty good. I'd watch him occasionally. No, I don't watch him. I know he's afraid of being canceled, so he's not as funny anymore. You can't be funny when you put restraints on your comedy. It's as simple as that. But anyway, let's get on and see what else is going on here. Twitter sometimes probably has more news than Yahoo or any of the others. This looks like an interesting quote, which I kind of like. As a former fruitarian, I'm no longer a fruitarian. I've added meat back into my diet, eggs and dairy as well. Long story, I got to do a video on that sometime. I did wonderful as a fruitarian. Had a lot of energy. It cleared up a lot of ills I had. But you shouldn't stay on it as long as I stayed on it because you start getting really scrawny and weak. And instead of having energy, I woke up one morning and I was feeling real low energy. Contacted someone I trust who's in the fruitarian angle, and he said, "You've been on this 4 years. Were you crazy?" He said he only goes on 6 months at a time, then goes back to a regular diet of meat, fruit. Yeah, he still has fruit, but not 100% fruit. So anyway, this Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus says, "Keep eating steak. Keep breathing fresh air. Don't live in fear. Enjoy summertime. Stop watching the news. Don't take experimental shots ever. Don't ever believe that men are women. They are not." Wow. Am I following this person? Well, I am now. Because it sounds like how I think. Which is, some of you might say is frightening, but that pretty much sums up my life. I probably should steal this from her. I'll give it the credit, but that is a great quote, and I am gonna take it, and I'll give it the credit, of course. But it's Dave Portnoy, Barstool Pizza. He's over in London doing something. I think there's some sort of boxing matches over there, and he has a couple of people on his staff. He sometimes sponsors. I don't know if you're familiar with Portnoy Barstool Sports, but he's the pizza review guy, and he's worth about $100 million. He's a real, actually, success story of a kid from Swampscott who started with nothing pretty much, and anyway, he's become quite successful, and so he runs a pretty major company now, and they sometimes back professional athletes in different sports and sponsor them, and he's got a couple of boxes, and that's why he's over in London. So let's see, something about sports TV ratings. A record low 7.5 million Let me start that over. A record low 7.5 million for the MLB All-Star Game, but guessing the narrative will be better than the Pro Bowl. Yeah, that's not a lot of people. All-Star games suck. I don't care for any of them anymore. I used to like the baseball one when I was a kid because back when I was a kid, they only they didn't have interleague playing. You know, the National League played the National League teams, and the American League played the American League teams, except in the World Series and in the All-Star Game. So we got a shot to see a lot of National League players like Hank Aaron, Willie Mays. You know, just some really great players that we wouldn't ordinarily see. So the All-Star Game was a big event back then. Eddie Matthews. I mean, really solid players. So, but now everything's different. Some people would say it's better, but I don't know. Kind of looked forward to those events back then because, you know, it wasn't an everyday event. Joe Biden, quadruple vaxxed, COVID positive. Yeah. To be honest with you, all the people I know who've gotten COVID within the last, I'd say, 6 months have all been vaccinated. Now, that could be, you could argue that that's a distorted statistic because I guess the majority of people in this country are vaccinated. So the chances are that if you know someone who's gets COVID, they probably are vaccinated. But my family and several people I know who aren't vaccinated, none of us have gotten COVID. So I don't know. That has no correlation to any kind of scientific research I've done. It's just my experience with only a very moderate amount of people. Let's see what else we got here. I follow a lot of health-related people, doctors and scientists, longevity scientists, interesting people. Okay, I do follow this Boston Radio Watch. I'm kind of a radio person. I do listen to radio occasionally, and he says, if these boobs were really serious about passing sports betting in this state, meaning Massachusetts, he's talking about the legislature, we would be heading into the 11th hour bullshit debate, which is basically another sham to protect the Ponzi operation known as the mass lottery. Yeah, they don't want to pass it for that reason. They're afraid it'll take away from their little lottery scam. But you know, God only knows how much the state, that the cities and towns actually get from any of this gambling in the state. And I'm sure since the advent of the lottery that the cities and towns get more money, but I think the money is not put into areas where most citizens would be happy with. You know, so anyway, what else we got here? Not a whole lot going on tonight. What's this here? Lamar Jackson, after seeing Kyler Murray's new contract. That's just a meme. What's this here? Oh, there was a fire on one of the Orange Line trains this morning. And I'll tell you something, that thing went up like a July 4th firework. It so anyway, they said an unidentified female passenger jumped off the bridge into the river. Yeah, the fire took place while the train was going over a fairly high bridge. Our Marine boat happened to be in the river for training and was on the scene immediately. The woman refused to get into the boat. She was provided a life jacket and proceeded to swim to shore. Then she walked away. Holy crap. Wonder if that's true or just BS. Probably true. I don't see why they would lie, but who knows? This Dr. Sean Baker, who I follow, 75% of our population is either obese or overweight, and almost all of them believe in balanced diets in moderation. It's true. I know a lot of people who think they're eating healthy and they're not, because you can't buy all of your food in the supermarket in a lot of seed oils and a lot of processed foods, even though the label might say it's a particular food. It's processed, and because it's processed, it lacks nutrition, contains all kinds of ingredients that your body really doesn't need or doesn't want. So that makes sense, that statement to me. What else is going on? Chris Sununu. Pelosi being asked if her husband ever insider traded was literally the same as this classic Chappelle sketch. I don't know what that is.
What are you saying? No, absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't take kindly to anything but fluff. You don't ask her a fluff question, she gets mad as hell, man. She'll just walk away, which usually means you're guilty. Whatever. Nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing's going to happen to her husband. They are the protected class. Get used to it. People say they ought to put that guy in jail. They won't put her in jail. They won't put him in jail. They won't put any politician in jail. They really have to be a low-grade politician, and they have to be a politician who's been causing some problems for the insiders. So, yeah, she's not going to jail, and neither is her husband, which is too bad. But what are you going to do? No sense losing sleep over stuff like that. It's just the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it, believe me. You can't vote anyone in that's going to do better. You can't. I mean, you could vote someone in who's going to do better, but the bottom line is it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, really. At least that's my opinion. But people still believe in it. That's good. I'm done with voting, except for local elections, as I've said many times. Good sheriff, I'll vote for in a heartbeat. I'll go out in a snowstorm to vote for someone who I believe is a good sheriff, or maybe a good councilman, or someone who's a commissioner, town commissioner, or something like that, or someone who can make a difference in how your town or your city is run. And those people are worth going out and voting for because they can actually make a difference in your life. Federal politicians, they can't make much difference in your life, believe me. You don't want to need them. If you need them, it means you're not doing well. It means you're not making enough money, or you come upon hard times and you need some sort of programs. If you need them, you need them. Believe me, I'm not criticizing anyone who needs to apply for a government program. You paid your taxes, you deserve it. But all I'm saying is you don't want to need politicians, because that means you're probably in a bad place. And I hope you're all doing well and not in a bad place. But anyway, Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns. He's the guy who's got about 30 accusations against him for allegedly, what is the correct term? For allegedly, not assault, but he's apparently made sexual innuendos to all these women. I don't know the extent of it. I really haven't followed that story all that much, but apparently people are predicting that he's not going to get as much of a punishment as most people would like to see him get. But you also got to remember, you got to prove this stuff. And if you're not willing to come forward and go to court and go through messy stuff, I mean, 30 women saying he did something is, man, it's tough to deny that 30 people are all wrong. But again, I really don't know all that much. But anyway, it says here Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns, 5 years, $230 million. What's that? That's $46 million a year or something, man. Yeah, wow, $46 million a year, guaranteed, no matter what happens. It's crazy. It's crazy the money these athletes are paid now. I mean, the owners are making a fortune too. It's just I don't know. I don't know how long this whole crazy money thing can continue. I mean, the amount of money between athletes and CEOs and all these money people. I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not in that class, so. But anyway, let's keep going. What's this? No exit for Narragansett Cafe. No exit for. Yeah, I never heard of it. Probably a cafe, some drinking spot or something, which is fine. Pete Buttigieg. I can't stand that guy. He really irritates me. I just don't like him. I shouldn't say it. I'll get in trouble. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. Anyway, what do we got here? I'm not worried about getting canceled. When I say get in trouble, I just don't feel like arguing with people. Yeah, I get to the point where, the bottom line is I used to get into all kinds of discussions, arguments with people regarding politics. And I can't ever remember changing someone's mind. I probably get in hundreds of arguments, discussions, yeah, sure. But I don't ever remember changing anyone's mind. So I just said, what's the use? They're not going to change my mind. I'm not going to change their mind. So, what are you going to do? What's this? Hard Rock Sportsbook. I guess is a little interesting. Every year, J-Lo has gotten married. Tom Brady won a championship. And I guess she's getting married again to, what's his name? Matt Damon. He's a local guy here in Massachusetts, right? Yeah, so anyway, she's getting married to him now. And so everyone's speculating that because every time she gets married, the Patriots win a championship. Well, I should say Brady wins a championship. So, yeah, Brady wins a championship. So the Bucks are plus 700 to win Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 57. Been a long time since I used Roman numerals. I like Roman numerals. I used to like math in school. I always liked math. I loved Roman numerals. I don't know. I always tell people I kind of think in numbers. I use numbers as memory pegs. And, I've always liked numbers. But anyway, what else we got here? Welcome to Foxborough, says Mike Giardi. High temp was 94. Rookies are there. Yeah, it's a tough way to start camp at 94 degrees. And that field is hotter than hell to begin with. Sun just beating down on it. But, what you got to do. Here's Mac Jones. He does look a little more muscular this year. I like Mac Jones. I hope he has a good year. Seems like a nice kid. I rooted for him hard last year. Patriots are one of the few teams the Celtics I follow, but Patriots, because they only play once a week, I don't generally watch full games of anything, even football, which I like, and basketball, which I like, but I no longer watch a full game. I got other things to do, so, I might get downstairs in my basement and go on the treadmill, and I might watch it while I'm on the treadmill. But I'm always doing something else. I don't just sit down, have a beer, a steak and cheese sandwich, and I just don't do that anymore. I guess it's because I'm old. I figure I haven't got that much time left. I mean, you don't know how many years you got left. Hopefully I got a few, but you never know. I don't know about you, but during these heat waves, this is one of the, in my lifetime, this is one of the top ones. I mean, I remember weather like this when I was younger. I mean, it's not the first time I've experienced heat waves. And back then, nobody had air conditioning. Nobody had air conditioning in the house. I never knew anyone who had air conditioning. house. Some businesses might have had it back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, but in the 50s, I don't think even businesses had it. But I didn't know anyone who had air conditioning. So what we would do, I mean, we lived in a brick front house, like those Beacon Hill brick front type houses. And I mean, it's like living in a brick oven, man. I don't know how anyone got any sleep, but even as kids, 5, 6, 7, 10 years old, we'd be sitting on the front stoop, as we called it in the city, until, I don't know, it's like, 2, 3 in the morning. You couldn't sleep. Your parents, everyone was sitting out. All the neighbors were talking, laughing. It was kind of fun. It was our way of socializing in the city, And in the summer, in general, even if it wasn't terribly hot, my dad would go out and sit on the front stairs, or I'd go out and sit on the front stairs. We didn't have like lawn chairs and stuff. I think a couple of the neighbors did, but very few. You just sat on the stairs, brick stairs. Wonder we all didn't get piles. But that was fun, and because the neighbors would maybe have a beer or send for pizza or something. In fact, I remember I was about 10 or 11 years old, and one of my next door neighbors they worked over in the North End, and they brought back a pizza from the North End. And I had never had a pizza. I think I was about 10. Never. I barely knew what a pizza was. I don't even know if I knew what it was, but that was the first time I tried a pizza. Of course, I liked it. Who wouldn't like a pizza, right? But he brought, in addition to bringing it, he brought a cheese one for the kids. He knew there was going to be some kids there and stuff. And then for the adults, he had one with like everything on it, including like fish heads. I remember seeing, the eyes of the fish. This was a real Italiano pizza. And the adults seemed to all like it. So it was good, though. I think that was my first pizza. Maybe I was 8 or 9. I don't remember, but I was young. A lot of stories I could tell you, but you don't want to hear that. What else we got here? Anything going on? Eco Sister. I don't know what was her. Had a small cosmetic company reach out to us today, interested in our 2S tallow. They make a face cream using tallow. Tallow is like a buttery substance, I think. They indicated our tallow was the best quality they have experimented with in their product line. Hoping we can make this work. Good luck to you, man. Anything else? It's kind of quiet today. It's the weather too, nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to do much of anything. I don't blame them. I don't. Although I'm getting really stir crazy. I go out on my deck and work out. I got these like those TRX straps that you can kind of like those. Get a good stretch. I broke my left arm back in 2007. I was working as a driver part-time for this company that transports handicapped kids, mentally handicapped kids and physically handicapped kids to their workplace. They have these places where they work. They do like assembly and stuff like that. It's good for them. It gives them a little meaning in life. So I used to pick them up in the morning and take them back home in the afternoon. Anyway, I was dropping one off in the morning. One of the worst days of my life, by the way. And she was a very large woman. It's hard to say how old they are. Some of them, I call them kids, but some of them are probably in their 40s. But, she had anger management problems. And so I'd always have her sit up front with me in the co-pilot seat. And I was the pilot. But, and I'd be the driver, and she'd sit next to me. And I could calm her down. I always could calm her down pretty good. I tell her, Karen, relax. You're going to be fine. Everyone, they're talking about me. And they'd be yelling back and forth. But I was pretty good at calming her down. And anyway, I went in, I grabbed her bags and brought them in. And I put the bags down, and I wanted to get out of there quick because I had something going on. Wished I had taken my time, to be honest with you. So as I squeezed by her to get by her, because she was a big woman. She was 4 bills, I think. She was high threes, maybe 400 pounds. And as I was squeezing by her, she picked up one of her bags, and as she picked up her bag, my leg got caught in the straps, the handle straps, and I'm not lying. Now, at the time, I probably weighed, I don't know, 160 maybe, and she weighs 400, so she more than doubled my weight, and she caught my leg and literally heaved me across the room. I'm not lying when I tell you this. And I went against the wall, came off the wall, and came back on my arm. And I looked down and I saw, actually, it was my left arm. I saw my arm was like just flapping on the floor. I thought I had lost the arm. I was kind of in a minor shock, I guess. But anyway, they called the EMTs and they rushed me over to the Winchester Hospital, where they set me up with a plastic cast and slings. And I mean, I had to go to, the rehab thing. And then in order just to get the plastic cast, they actually just gave me a sling, and they have me on morphine. And I don't accept drugs of any kind. And they said, "Do you want morphine in the ambulance?" I said, "Man, whatever you got, this pain is." He said, "What's the pain?" I said, "I know, 1 to 10, what's the pain?" I said, "I'm 11. It was the worst pain I've ever experienced. And I had broken the shoulder area of the arm. It's called the humerus. And the old standard medical joke is it's not very funny. But anyway, the humerus. So, I went through I think that happened in maybe the middle of June. And I didn't fully recover really until October. When I say fully recovered enough to feel like I could move around all right. I started at the time I had took a leave of absence from my job. And so I had applied for this crossing guard little side gig. And I had an online business at the time that I was working, but I always like having some sort of job, even a very part-time job. I'm still a crossing guard. I've been crossing guard probably, I don't know, 10, 12 years now, between Linfield and now I'm up in a place called Amesbury. And I've been doing it up here for a while too. So I think I did it for like 8 years in Linfield, and now I've been doing it like for 3 or 4 years up here. So even when I started as a crossing guard in September, my arm, I mean, it was still painful. I could only use one arm to stop the traffic. I literally could not go like this with my arm. I couldn't move it that high. So I just, kind of spin around. And I told the chief, I said, I got a problem with my arm, but I can do the job. He said, "No problem, you can do it. And, we need you because not too many people apply for these jobs. Because, you don't make a lot of money. And it's the type of job where, you don't spend a lot of time there, cross the kids, and you go home. You come back in the afternoon, you cross them again, and you go home. And, so you're getting paid for each location. You get an hour's pay, even though you don't really spend an hour there. But, you can't make a lot of money. It's just not a high-paying job. But anyway, then that was the first time I broke my arm. I don't know how I wander off sometimes, but to tell you it was excruciatingly painful, and took really, I want to say, I said October, but I'll bet it was November before I felt like I had even 50% use of the arm. It was a long recovery, and it was a bad break. So then that was in 2007. Then in 2019, I was going out for a walk. I go out for these early morning walks, and and it was about 5:30, I guess, and it was in October, so it was dark, but it was starting to, break a little bit of light. So by the time I get down to the main road there, it was about, I don't know, 5:45 maybe. And it was starting to get light, but it was still, dusk. And there were a lot of leaves on the ground. It was fall. It was right around Halloween, maybe. I think it was, in fact, I should know the exact date. I do. It was October 24th, okay, the week before Halloween. So, I was being cautious of the leaves because you get that misty dew and sometimes it rains and the leaves get a little slippery, so you got to be careful. And in my caution, next thing I know, I went flying through the air like, it's like I was flying and landed, and I could feel the right eye. I knew I broke it as soon as it happened. And what apparently had happened is the sewer cover, which I know where it is, but everything was covered with leaves. And I thought I went wide enough to clear the sewer cover, and apparently I didn't, because that's the only, after thinking about it and going back and checking the sewer cover, I could see that that's the only thing it could have been. And so, fortunately for me, I mean, I was kind of not out in the middle of the road, but I was kind of far off the shoulder. And like I say, it was dark, and I couldn't roll over because when I rolled, pain was excruciating in the right arm. So this is a funny story, even though it wasn't funny at the time. It was the second worst day of my life. The first broken arm was worse, but this one was pretty damn bad too. So anyway, this car stopped, and these two young women, probably in their 30s, late 30s maybe, and they get out of the car and said, they thought it was a trash bag rolling around in the road, because I had worn, dopey me, wore kind of a black sweatshirt. But usually at that time the light was breaking, but I remember it was still kind of dark, So fortunately they stopped, dragged me over to the side of the road. I said, don't roll me, because I said, and don't try to pick me up. I said, I'm in excruciating pain. I said, it's like, I can't even explain it to you. So they called 911. They came, got me on the ambulance. I go to the hospital, and this is the funny part. Brought me in the hospital, and this doctor said his name was Dan. Nice guy, emergency room doctor. And he came and he said, my name's Dan. I said, hey, Dan. He asked me what happened. I told him. He said, okay, we'll get you in some x-rays. I said, I think it's the humerus. I said, I broke my other one years ago, and it feels exactly the same. He said, yeah, we'll check it out. So anyway, they put me over to the side. They took me to the x-rays, and then they put me into the, at the time I didn't know this, but it was the psych ward. Okay. It would, not because I was acting like a psycho. They didn't have any rooms available. So they put me in like this like curtained off room with other curtained off rooms next to me. And they put me in there, and I was in there for probably a good hour and a half. And this woman who was in the cubicle next to me was screaming and yelling, and I just peeked out, and she got out of the bed, the cot or whatever they had her in. She broke off out of the restraints. She was a strong woman. She wasn't super big, but she was strong. And they sent two security people down, two big guys. She was like tossing them around. You know what they say when people get real angry, their strength, supersedes their normal size. And that was true. And so the nurse comes in, and she's shaking. And I said, what the hell's going on here? She said, I'm sorry, I had to put you in the psych ward because we didn't have any room. And she said, she was frightened to death. And I said, ma'am, you got to calm down. I said, you got to get me out of here. I said, if she hits my arm, I'm a goner. That's what I was worried about. She was going to go crazy and all of a sudden bumping into me and stuff. She wasn't that far away from me, so I said to her, go over there. We'll get. So she did wheel me down. And then, poor nurse, she was so nervous, she couldn't put a sling on me. She didn't know how to put the sling on. And she wasn't a young woman. She was kind of, you could tell she was experienced, but I think she knew how to do it, but she was very, very frightened. I don't blame her. I was scared too. I mean, this one, you could tell she was crazy. But anyway, so Dr. Dan comes back in. He said, I heard you had another experience. I said, yeah. he goes, yeah, you were right. It's the humors. So he helped me. I said, could you get me another sling? I don't think she put it on correctly. I think she's a little nervous about what happened over there. So he did. And so then, I went out to I said, I'm going to leave to the receptionist. She goes, well, you really should have someone here to drive you. And I said, I'll take a cab. So I go out in the room. I don't carry my cell phone when I walk inside. I know I should, but I don't. And so anyway, I get a cab, got the sling on. I know what's wrong with me. It's not as bad as the last one. I know that, but it's still pretty bad. So the doctor said, if you want to, when you're starting to feel a little better, he said, you might want to call an orthopedic guy and get it checked out and make sure, they might need, he said, I don't think you need surgery. He said, it should heal, but you might want to contact one. Well, I knew I wasn't going to because I knew exactly what it was and I knew what I was going to have to do to fix it. So take the cab. Cab driver he was a nice guy, but I didn't have money with me or anything. So, I literally was one-armed and in a lot of pain. And so I said to the cab driver, I said, listen, my car door is open. I always, before I go for my walks, I take my gloves and I have a little couple of self-defense devices I carry with me during my walks. So sometimes you run into, a coyote or something, whatever, in the morning like that, because it's still dark sometimes, like I said. And so I knew the door was open in the car. I said, listen, I can get in the house and get some money, but it's going to be a real hassle. I'm operating with one arm. I said, would you mind going in my car, go in the glove compartment, and I always keep $60 or something in there, just in case I run into a problem. I put it in with my registration and stuff. So I told him where it was. I said, I think the cab fare was like $22 or something. I said, take the 60, man. Just help me to my door and, just grab my arm so I don't fall again. And so he was happy with the tip and everything. And to make a long story short, long story shorter, I did not call an orthopedic guy. When I started feeling a little better, I had to sleep in a chair for like 3 months. It was another long bout, not as long as the other one, but damn close. And I like to exercise anyway, so I knew what I had to do to exercise my arm and get it back to normal. And that was a long, arduous process. And those are probably the 2 times in my life that I've been most depressed, because I'm a very active person. And when you have to sleep in a chair, you have to depend on other people to do pretty much everything for you. I mean, I knew how to take a shower with one arm and all that, but, I'd have to ask people to, make a cup of coffee for me. It sounds like you should be able to do that with one arm, but you'd be surprised at things you can't do with only one arm, especially this time it was my right arm, which is my strong arm. So I only have my left arm to operate with. And, just getting out of the chair, I couldn't sleep in a bed for at least 2 months. And just getting out of the chair. And we bought a recliner so I could, a little bit easier, adjust it or whatever, the remote, and that made it tolerable. But I was miserable for 2.5 months. I don't think I got a decent night's sleep for probably 3 months. And so anyway, why did I start that story? I have no idea. But let me just refresh where I was. I don't remember, but anyway, that's my story on that. And I don't recommend breaking your arm, is what I'm saying. But what are you going to do, huh? So anyway, let's scroll down a little more, see what's going on here. That's about it. Joe Biden tests positive for COVID. We already spoke about that. Yeah, boy, Biden, 79, is fully vaccinated. after getting 2 doses of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine shortly before taking office. And the boosters. He's boosted to the moon. That is what it is. But anyway, that's a long video. Sorry for putting you through this. And most of you have dropped off by now, which is good. But anyway, it's JW. And, I thought Twitter might be a little more, maybe some funny stuff on it, but not really. What are you going to do, huh? Do the best you can. Anyway, JW signing off. Thanks for watching.